Okay, you need to. So this is just going to be. I'm just going to walk you through everything that we have done. Though we have not really done so much, but we're going to start it from the scratch. So now this is Visual Studio Code, and we are going to be using this to learn our Python programming. Okay, so relating what we are going to be doing here is moving forward, relating what we are doing here with your scratch, so that it will be easier for you to relate with. But for now, we'll just do a bit of introduction. So this is what your interface will look like. This is what you will see on your screen when you open Visual Studio Code. I'm sure that Mr. Ibukun has been able to do the installations for you, and you don't really have to worry much about installing Visual Studio. So this is it. This is Visual Studio without any setup. You might not see anything in this recent because I've created some files. So that's why there are some things in my recent here. So you might just see this and start. You see new file, open folder. So this is how you do it. So first of all, I would want you to open a folder. I think you can just open a folder, and that folder we're going to be calling it Python workspace. Okay, so if you do not have a folder, open a folder. Okay, you can go to your desktop. When you open your folder and it brings up that open folder, it brings up that file explorer stuff. Just quickly go to desktop to look for your folder that you want to open. Go to desktop and create new folder. You see new folder at the top. You should know this now from your computer appreciation class. Just create a new folder that is called and call it Python workspace. Okay, so just call that new folder Python workspace. Okay, it's just like a folder we're going to be doing all of our Python classes, though the folder is not necessarily compulsory, but it's just best creating a folder actually. So select that folder, and here we are. So if you come here, you see Explorer. This part here is the Explorer. You'll see Python workspace. Okay, so this is it. We are here in Python workspace, right? So let's see. Get started with Python. So in this walkthroughs here, you see get started with get started with that. Okay, so this is where we are going to start from. But first, we are going to install the extensions we will need, and we'll come right here. I'm sure Mr. Ibukun should have also helped you install Python 3.13, yes, which is the latest version. So right here in this place, where my arrow is, just follow my arrows. We have Explorer, we have the search, the source control, run and debug, we have the remote explorer, we have the extensions. If you are hearing any noise in my background, just try to ignore, because I think it's from my end here. Okay, so we have extensions. So you just click on the extensions. You can see you need some extensions. So you will see some extensions already installed in my phone. So you just go to Python. Just type Python. and you'll be installing these extensions here, Python debugger, Python itself. You see an extension called Python itself. Install that extension. Okay, install this extension, Python debugger. You can remember this is a recorded class. You can always pause, you can always go back to rewatch. Python debugger, Python, Pylance, install these extensions. And you can also install this, it's not compulsory though, Python indent. You can install it. You can install it as well. I don't, but you can install it as well. So these three here are very important. Okay, so these are the important extensions that you will need for your Python. Okay, all right, so you'll be needing this one. It's very compulsory. You will need it for Python. All right, so that's all for now. Yes, that is all for Python. The next thing, you should also install this important extension called Docker. Install Docker. Yes, just install it. Later you will know why. Install Docker. Docker is a very important extension that you should install. Alright, so that's all. When you are done installing these extensions, you will see it in the installed part. Okay, by the time you click on your extensions, you will see installed. Then you can check the extensions that are installed, and when you have seen that all those extensions I told you have been installed, you can come back to this welcome tab here. Come back to the welcome tab and come to walkthroughs. Okay, you can come to the walkthroughs. You see learn the fundamentals, get started with. Where you will be seeing get started with, then you should see get started with Python. But it's not showing on my own because I've done that before. But if it's not showing on your own too, if you are not seeing get started with Python here, after you have installed Python extensions, remember you must install Python extensions first. Okay, so if you are not seeing it here, after you have installed the extensions, you can just click more and you can tap Python. Then you see get started with Python development. Click it and they will show you open a project folder, create a Python file, which is done, which we have done. Create a Python environment. So we have created a Python project folder which we called please, if you're on extensions here, this is my arrow that is going up and down. This is the extension sign here. Come back to Explorer. These extensions, come back up to Explorer. The Explorer is this file symbol here. These extensions, tap Explorer, so you can see it, Python workspace. Okay, so we have done that. We created a project folder, we have opened it. Now the next thing is to create a Python file in the project folder. See, can you see? Open the project folder. Okay, Python workspace, select folder. Okay, by the time you click on the next one, create a Python file. Click on the button, create Python file. Okay, a Python file has been created for us. Okay, so that's it. That's another way to create a Python file is to come to your Explorer here. This side, the left side part is where you can see the Explorer, and the left side of your listed. So you come to your Explorer here, you click the first thing, you see this plus sign here and the file. This means new file. If you hover on it, you see the root is new file. Here is new folder, so it's file. So if we create a new file and call it app.py, .py means Python file. If you don't put .py, your computer will not recognize it as a Python file. Remember, always remember that. So dot means the extension, means the type of file. Extension means the type of file you want to save it as. And we want to create a Python file, so we need to save it as dot Python. We need to tell you that it is a Python file, dot py, just py, and you see the logo will even change. If you look at my screen, that's changed to this symbol here, Python logo, Python. So just press enter after you have done that, and you can see here, you can let's do this one. You can see here a Python. We have not yet typed any code yet, but an empty Python file has been created. So the next thing is to select or create an environment. So that's in this our walkthrough tab. This welcome, go back to the welcome tab. You see create an environment. Click that button. You see create environment, VENV or conda. Don't use conda, use that VENV. Virtual environment. That's the meaning of .venv. Virtual environment. Just click on virtual environment, and it will tell you to select an interpreter path. You see something like this. So because of Mr. Ibuko has helped you to install Python, you should see this option. Okay, that's why it was important for us to install Python on our computer. So you should see this option on your computer. If Python is not installed on your computer, or VS Code is not installed, because I believe that Mr. Ibuko has helped you install it, you can just say it in the classroom, and a video for an installation video will be sent. All right. So but I'm very sure that you have it. You have VS Code and you have Python installed on your computer. So this is Python 3.1, which is the one that Mr. Ibuko installed for you. So select it, and you can see it's creating environment here. See my arrow down to the right bottom right, you can see creating VENV, and you can see it has created VENV. If you go to your Explorer, remember Explorer, File Explorer, that's just the meaning of Explorer there, which is by the left side of the first one. Going to show you all the files that are inside your project folder. That's where the Explorer is, and you can access any of them. You will see VENV folder here. Can you see? A .venv has been created already. Okay, a .venv folder has been created. So what we're going to do is that we're going to move. Okay, hold on. So let's come back to our welcome tab here. Walk through Python. Hold on, let's delete this. Get started with Python development. So now let's run and debug the Python file. And keep exploring. Mark as done. Good. So you can see now you can delete this welcome tab if you want. It's not necessary. Just get rid of it. So now we have our app.py, and we are left with starting with what we have to do. Okay, so let's begin. This is our app.py, and the next thing that we are going to be doing is we'll just start with Python. But first of all, I'm just going to walk you through the interface of the whole user interface of Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is what we call an IDE. Visual Studio Code is what we call an IDE, and I'm going to be explaining that. I'm going to be explaining that very soon. So please just stay in touch and be here with me. An IDE. Visual Studio Code is an IDE. Okay. So first of all, we are going to be looking at what an IDE actually is. So this is it right here. Sorry about that. Okay, so an IDE, as we see it, let me zoom up. An IDE means, and forget about the grammar, just know I'm going to explain it. Integrated development. You know what development is, right? Environment. So environment, integrated development environment. So Visual Studio Code is an IDE. So an integrated development environment, which is an IDE. You can just say IDE. Actually, people don't, you already see people saying this thing in full, but it's just for you to know it, what it is. People just say IDE. So it's an IDE. An IDE is an IDE is a software that is used to make development very easy. You understand what I'm saying? That is what IDEs are used for, is to make development easy. Okay, that's what IDEs are used for. So this is, let me explain it in a very in a way that you understand. So an IDE is a software application that provides all the tools you need for making a software. Understand? So the things that exist in an IDE is a text editor. So it's a text editor. That's one of the things that exist in an IDE. So you see something like this, a text editor. An IDE has a text editor, text code editor, not just any text editor, but a text editor for code. Okay, a text code editor, and not just a text editor, it has a debugger. So a debugger is what we can use to find errors in our code, right? So a debugger is a computer program used to test our code. What you use to test your code. And if you are familiar with Visual Basic, when we want to run, anytime we create a code, we have to run it, debug. That's called debugging, to test your code if it's working, and if there are any errors, that's what debuggers do. So maybe it will test your code, it will run your code, maybe to just keep running your code. Maybe at this point there was an error, it will stop. That's what debuggers is. So it's a computer program that does that. That's what debuggers are. And that debugger, everything is integrated. Now you can see how the name comes in. Integrated means added. They just added everything into one, and that's what they mean by integrated. Everything is integrated into one environment. That's how the name IDE came about. Integrated development environment. So everything you need is in one software. Your text editor, your debugger, or rather than say, or text, another word for this text editor is like the source code editor. That's simply the editor for your code, not anything too much like that. Okay, yeah, let me just put it this way. Okay, your source code editor, and your debugger. Another thing that an IDE has is what some IDE has a built-in automation tool. So please do not take any of these words as big words or something like that. It's just a built-in automation tool. So built-in automation tools are tools that just help your work easy. there's some things that you don't need to do by yourself. It's just there on its own, and it just helps you do things easier. Let's just talk it, because we're not actually going to be talking about that. So that's it. And Visual Studio Code. So first of all, two things that you should know is that an IDE, Visual Studio Code, is an IDE, integrated development environment. It's for development of applications, and it has integrated features like your source code editor, your text code editor, your debugger, and it has so many other features. You can even put extensions there that makes all your work easy. So that's simply what it does. I mean, it's cool. So when we're talking about IDEs, Visual Studio Code beats everything. Like, there are other IDEs, but Visual Studio Code is open source. It's free, and Visual Studio Code. Built-in automation is what I wanted to write. Automation. So Visual Studio Code is open source. Okay, VS Code. Understand? Or Visual Studio. Okay, it's open source, not just open source. It's very good. It's flexible. Visual Studio Code is the best and the widely used code editors. All developers in big companies like Microsoft, like Google, like IBM, they use VS Code, and VS Code is Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. Now we have, apart from VS Code, we have Visual Studio, just Visual Studio, not code. Visual Studio is like the bigger version of VS Code. VS Code can do what it can do, but there's some things that Visual Studio on its own, without the code, Visual Studio can do some things, some big things that VS Code, is not really the best. VS Code, the difference between VS Code and Visual Studio is that Visual Studio Code, that's VS Code, is lightweight. It's not too when I mean lightweight, I'm talking about size. It does not take too much of space on your computer. You can decide which thing to install, which thing not to install. And some of the, it's lightweight, let's put it that way. Visual Studio on its own is not lightweight. Visual Studio Code is usually big in size. I mean, it's a whole package you are installing on your system, and it's best for debugging. Remember what I told you that debugging is? Debugging is like a computer program that is used to test your code, test your app, and spot for errors, and use it to check breakpoints. Like, okay, this part I need to correct this thing. There's an error here. Visual Studio is the best for that, but Visual Studio Code is also good for debugging, but it's just majorly for the code. Alright, we'll see about that later on. Okay, so at least you know what Visual Studio Code is now. We will just come back here. We'll come back here to our VS Code. As you can see, okay. So we have Python here, and we want to start. So Visual Studio Code, rather, you can, use different. You can code in different languages, obviously, because it's an IDE. It's not just a text editor. Okay. All right. So, but just for knowledge purposes, not that we are using it here anyways, but just so you know, I just wanted to tell you some type of text editors. You might be curious what's the difference. I've told you the difference between a text editor and IDE. Okay, a text editor. Difference between a text editor and an integrated development environment. So text editors just for the text or the source code. Text editor can edit text, So text editor Text editor can edit any type of text on any type of language, edit text in a very fine way. Yeah, edit text, put text, just arrange text to be good. Some kind of text editors or source code editors, because these text editors that are obviously notepads, like what I'm using right now, it's a text editor. But why I always put slash source code editor, because this is not just any kind of text editor, but it's for code. Source code editors, just ordinary source code editors, they edit text. Okay, these ones, they edit text. Source code editors or text editors, however you might see it, edit text. They are good for editing text. So you can just edit a text and that's all it does, nothing more. It's just for editing text. In fact, there's nothing to explain there. But IDE not only edits text. Okay, IDE is like this source code editor is put inside this program. Okay, computer software. That source code editor, they put it inside a computer software with other things. Okay, you understand? A source code editor, or let me even say a better source code editor. Yes, because there are some other features on IDE we have. A better source code editor plus more plus debugging plus more features. So that's an IDE. Okay, yes, an IDE. Okay, so that's just it. So an IDE is always better, especially when you are trying to code. Like for example, now in VS Code, now if you are trying to code in Python, VS Code will try to support, it will try to give you this kind of Python feel. So it's not just a text editor, but it's going to be Python. So we'll see about that. So firstly, we'll come to the second part of this of the class, and that's going to be Python programming. Okay, learn about Python programming. So first of all, I need to tell you about comments. Comments, when you are coding, unlike Scratch that you just use text code. So anything you are typing on a Python file must be Python related. If it's not Python related, it's going to be an error in that code. For example, if I write "I am a boy" here, can you see? It's already underlining the "I am a boy." It's underlining it. Can see boy red, A red. It's underlining it with red because there's nothing that this thing has to do with Python. That's why you can see 7 here. Okay. All right. So now let me take you through a walk on the user interface of Visual Studio Code. So this left side place here is the Explorer. This is where we see the editors. Okay. Now we have the Explorer. If you tap on it, it will go. If you click on it again, it will come back. Now we have the search. You can search for things here. Now we have the source control. Right now, you don't need to. We have not come to this place, but you understand what source control means. You can do your personal research if you want. Now we have run and debug. If you want to debug, you come here. Okay. You can also come up here where you have run. Up here, run. Start debugging. Or you can also come here just to run and debug. Okay. Now you have here Remote Explorer. Okay, I'll tell you what this is. Obviously, these are advanced things like this Remote Explorer, source control. It's not now we're going to be doing things like that. Now we have extensions, like we just use extensions now to download Python in VS Code. We have testing. You can configure Python test. We won't be doing it now. Be doing it later. Now we have Docker. If you install Docker extension, you see this Docker thing here. Tab 9. You don't need to worry about all this. These are just AI extensions. And this is Git lens. All this as well. You don't need to worry. All these things are installed. Then the extensions are installed, but you don't need to. So you don't worry about it. So since that's for the left side. Now up here, if you want to save your work, we have your file. You can put it here. And you have your new text file. If you just want a plain text file, no code, nothing. This is a boy. I am a boy. You can see that there is no .py in this text file now. And since there is no .py, it is just a normal text file. When I'm saving it, you see plain text. I am a boy now. Nothing was underlined. Nothing was underlined. So I am a boy.txt. Remember when I say when you have the name of a file dot something, that dot something means the type of file. Now for Python we add .py, means it's a Python type of file. .txt means text. Txt is text. It means it's a text file, just ordinary plain text, no code. So that's why this text, you can put any kind of text. You can say that I love to go fishing. Okay, coding is just so good. Or weird or frustrating. You get it? Anything. Just type any text. The fish went to bed, went to school. You know, anything is text, just plain text, anything. So there's not going to be any errors. And how are you going to know that there's an error in your code? You will see that in this app.py, you can see that it's red here. And you are seeing something by the side of app.py, 7. It means there are 7 errors in this code. And this I am a boy, there's nothing there, everything is just white. And there is no number next to the file name. Okay, so I hope you are following. Remember, you can always, backward this video if there's something you didn't get, and you always have the classroom, and you can always send a message if there's something you are not getting. You can always replay the video as much times as you want. Okay, so that's for text file. Now this is file. Let's come back to the file again. You can see new file, new window. Maybe you want to add another new VS Code window. You can see it's going to create a new window for you. Okay, you can open file and all that. You should be familiar with. That's just basic computer. Now for edit, you can undo, you can redo. You don't need to come to edit to undo, because you should know how to undo on a computer and redo. It's usually the same thing, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Y, or to redo is Ctrl Shift Y, Ctrl Shift Z sometimes. But for VS Code is Ctrl Y, which is the usual thing for most Windows software. Okay, so that's for undo and for redo. To cut, Ctrl X, to copy, Ctrl C, to paste, Ctrl V. Okay, so to find in files, Ctrl Shift F. Find in file just simply means that if you want to find a particular thing you wrote in a file. Let me show you what that's about. Okay, let me tell you what that's about. For example, if I said everything we just wrote in our file here, and I pasted it here. Okay, everything we wrote in that notepad. If I want to find this word wait, or no, let me say code. If I want to find the word code in this file, I can just come to Ctrl Shift F, which means find in file. That's the shortcut for it. Let's do it again. Okay, that's in edit. Sorry. Find in files. Remember, once you know the shortcut, you don't have to go in there again. So I can search for code. So you can see that it has highlighted all the word that has to do with code. Okay. All right. So imagine you have a code, a file that has 500. See, this one has how many lines? 13 lines. Okay. 19 lines, empty spaces. Okay. So imagine you have 500 lines and you want to look for you want to sort out some particular words. You can use that finding. It's not actually necessary for now. We won't be doing that now. So I'm just like telling you, selection is the next thing here. View. Okay. Now, this comes to what I want to show us. So you can edit your layout how you want your layout to be, command palette. So we'll just rush down to terminal. Terminal is where you see how your code works, how the errors, you'll be able to see the errors. You'll be able to see maybe you are debugging and some errors came up. You're able to see what those errors are. You can be able to see the output and all that. So let's click on new terminal. Okay. And something like this is going to appear. Now you see something like this when you click on new terminal. Okay. Now, remember what we learned in the ICT class, computer appreciation class, about file location and file management. How to locate a file and how to find the location of a file using the file address. If you are going back to what you have been taught, you can. So the reason why I said that and I referred to that is because of this thing you are seeing here. So this is just simply the location of this our project folder here, Python workspace. That's what you are seeing here. So my Python workspace, which is the last thing here, is inside my desktop folder, which is inside my OneDrive folder, which is inside my users folder, which is here, and which is inside my hard drive. That's the C dot here, it's the hard drive. Okay. Now, hold on. Hold on. So let me do that again. My Python workspace is inside my desktop folder, okay, which is inside my OneDrive folder, which is inside this is my user Victory, which is inside my users folder, and the users folder is inside my hard drive, which is C hard disk drive. That's the meaning of it, in case you forgot how to find the location of a file or a folder in your computer. That's what that thing means. You don't need to confuse yourself. It's nothing, So if you want to clear everything that is on your, let's try to do something. Hold on. If you want to clear everything that is on this terminal and make it to be blank like this, you can press clear and it will clear everything. Okay, so do you see, if I type rubbish on my terminal, it's going to bring up an error, and errors are always in red in your Visual Studio Code. Let's type another rubbish again. Let's say I am a boy. Okay, now remember your terminal, the reason why it's bringing an error is because your terminal uses a programming language. Okay, and that programming language is called PowerShell. By default, your Windows terminal uses a programming language called PowerShell. If you come to this place here, you will see PowerShell. PowerShell is a command line programming language. Okay, it's a programming language that uses command line interface. Okay, you have been taught about GUI, you have been taught about graphical user interface. But terminals, this terminal we open uses command line interface, which is CLI. Okay. So you can see all these errors here. Our terminal is already filled with errors. So we want to clear everything and start with a new fresh page. You just type your clear in your terminal. clear, and everything is going to go away, because we're going to be doing that a lot in our Python class. Okay, so PowerShell is a program language. It is always installed in every Windows computer. Every Windows computer you have, check for it. PowerShell is always installed. So if you go to your start menu and you type PowerShell, there is no space between them. Power and shell are spelled together. Just type PowerShell. You are going to see the application. You will see PowerShell, that's the terminal, the command line interface. You see PowerShell as an IDE, that's as an integrated development environment. But for terminals, it's not called IDE, it's called ISE. On your own, you can go and search for what ISE means and see the difference between IDE and ISE. Okay, we are not dealing with that yet. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so PowerShell, okay, so is what we use it. So that's why when we type rubbish on our terminal, and press OK, it brought out an error, because if you read that error, just look for something in the error. It says, wait, let me type rubbish. Let's look for the beginning of the error. It says the term SMM. You see, that's what I typed, because that's what I typed, SMM semicolon. The term SMM is not recognized as the name of a CMD-let. This CMD-let means that it's not recognized as the name of a command in PowerShell. PowerShell does not understand. It is not a term. That's the meaning of CMD-let. It's not a term in PowerShell. So that's why I brought that error. You don't need to. I know if you see some errors, it might look too many. Like, you're like, what is this? This error, see. There are some errors that are usually longer than this. Let me make it to see it very well. I mean, this one is not even long. Look at the error in red. And this is one of the most frustrating things about coding. But you just need to be cool. Okay? So you just need to read the error. Just read the first line. That's what debugging is. Trying to find out, where the error is from. So it's just telling you that this thing you typed in the shell is called a shell. Okay, this is a shell or a terminal. This thing you typed in the terminal is not a term in PowerShell programming language. So it brought this error. So let's clear this page. Clear. Or I think you can even use CLS to clear. So come here, come down, and type CLS instead of clear. I'm going to clear my shell. So that's it. So it is here you are going to be seeing when you are debugging. You see terminal. You see here. Just before terminal, you see debug console, and you will see output, and you will see problems. So you can see 7 problems. That's why in app.py here it wrote 7, because there are 7 problems. And when you read the problems, statements must be separated by new lines, semicolons. This one must be. So those are just rules. Okay. So by new lines. So let us fix the problem. In Python, they are just telling us that what you wrote, I am a boy, does not follow Python rules. In Python, statements must be separated by new lines. New lines are that, I think they are just underscores or something. Or semicolons. So let's use semicolons to separate them. Let's see. Python just has its rules, okay? So as you see that as we are putting semicolons, the errors are reducing. Okay? And the errors are reducing, okay? So now we now have 4 errors now. I is not defined. We have not defined it. We have not defined what I is. Am is not defined. A is not defined. It means that the computer does not know what I is in Python. There's nothing like I in Python. So even if you want to write I, you have not told us what it is. You have not told the computer what I is. Boy is not also defined. So we have to define it. Okay? But we are not defining it. Now that comes down to variables. So let's delete everything. Variable is simply defining something, telling the computer what something is. So imagine you type student here. Imagine you type student here. You see the problems here. It says student is not defined. Okay? Student is not defined. Alright? Or let's say student name. Student name is not defined. Student name is not defined. Okay? Okay? So, now let's define the student name. Remember, the student name is the variable. And when you press equal to, that means you want to define it. Equal to means you are trying to define it. So you can see that it's now this color now. It's no more showing, it's no more underlining student name. So when we press equal to, it means we want to define it. We are trying to define it, but nothing, no value has to be attached. Anything that comes after equal to is a value, okay? Both in programming and in math, okay? So student name is equal to, let's say, your name. Let me put your name, Netochukwu. Okay? Agu. So this is your full name. Okay? So it's underlining your name, Netochukwu. Python doesn't still understand what Netochukwu is. Okay? So first of all, if you overrun it, just put your cursor. Your cursor is this stuff here that is moving up and down. Put it on top of student's name. You'll see it as variable. Variable student name can be anything. So a variable, you can assign anything to a variable. A variable is like a tiny little container that will store data in a computer. So those are variables. Now the kind of data we want to store is Netochukwu Agu is the data here. But in computer science, in data processing, in programming also, don't worry, you'll do some of these subjects as you grow in data processing, in computer science, and in programming. We have types of data. We don't just put any data. Now, types of data we have is text or string. We have numbers. We have, list. Okay? So this type of text now, text is letters, Netochukwu Agu is a type of data. And the type of data it is text. Okay? So it is a text type of data. Text or string. It's better we do it as string, okay? Because text, if you use text, just like the way we use it in Scratch, text is limited to only letters, but string is not. Okay, I'll explain later. So Netochukwu Agu that's your name. Netochukwu Agu is your name, and the type of data it is a text. Okay, so the rule for text is that, look at it here. We must put it in a semicolon. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Now, because we didn't put it in a semicolon, Python is thinking that Netochukwu is another variable like student name that we just defined. Python is thinking that Netochukwu, that's your name, Python is thinking that it is a variable that has already been defined. So that's why Python is saying in the problem here that Netochukwu is not defined. So we need to tell Python that, okay, this is not a variable. It is actually a data we are assigning to this variable called student name. So, and we need to tell Python that the type of data it is a text. So we need to put quotes you know, open quotes and close quotes. So by the time we put those open close quotes, you can see that there's no more problem in our code, and we can save it. And this is it. Art.py, student name is Netochukwu Agu. Alright? So you can see right now, this is how variables work in Python. So that's it. Okay. So Python is very easy. Just write it as this. If it's some programming language like JavaScript, okay, you need to declare the variable first before you define it. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I mean here. If it was JavaScript, you can't just write student name as the name of the variable. You need to declare it. Declaring a variable means that, okay, you are telling the computer that, okay, this is a variable though, this is a variable. And there's a way we declare variables is VAR, so that, okay, this is a variable in JavaScript. If you want to type this in JavaScript with VAR student name, then equals to Netochukwu Agu. This is going to be in JavaScript. Okay, remember JavaScript is another kind of programming language. But in Python, you don't need to start writing VAR. Python will already know that it's a variable, so you don't need to declare it and all that. So we're not learning JavaScript, so let's just delete this. So that's why you can see it's underlining the VAR, because Python does not understand that language. That's not its language. All right. So okay. Let me see if I can. I think. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Yeah. I'm sorry. I think it has been a little bit. Let me make it bigger. All right. All right. So I'm just compiling everything. Trying to compile everything that has been taught. Okay. All right. So I think we have a bigger screen now. I think you can see clearly. All right. So this is a recorded video, so you have this to your advantage as well. If you can also fast forward if you think that some things have been repeated, you know, and sometimes, you know, just to quicken your listening. You can also backward, you can also pause and play and repeat. So this is variable. If you want to create more variable, is maybe now we're going to create another variable this time now, and now the variable is going to be called, we want to create something like your name, your age, but we'll just use some random people. It's not going to be anybody's. Let me say that this person's name is okay. Let's go back to student age, student name, what we did before. Okay, let's say student student age. Let's say that this student is okay, let's use another name. Okay, let's use you. Remember, age is a number. As they say, age is just a number, right? Age is a number. So we say someone is 20, is 15, is 7, is 5, is 10. So it's a number. So we are assigning, we are giving data to the variable. Okay, and the kind of data we are giving this time, it's a number type of data. So for numbers, we don't put quotes like for text, so we'll just write the number directly. You can see it's giving an error because we have not put anything here. So we'll just write the number directly, and let's assume 8 years. Okay, so student's age, student's class, let's say primary primary 4, let's say student school, and we'll say epitome school. Okay, these are all variables. Student name is a variable, student age is a variable, student class. Now if you notice it, when I say student name, I didn't write student name and write student, then I left space, then I now wrote name. Okay, Python will treat student as and name as two different variables. Okay, you can see student is not defined and name was defined. It was only name that was defined. Student is not defined. So we're actually going to put it together, and instead of writing it like this, student name, when I write student, I write, after the next word will be a capital letter. I think I love it this way. So you don't leave spaces between variable names. Okay, student age too, I didn't leave space after I wrote student. It's a law. Okay, so it's the syntax of programming languages. Every programming language has their syntax. Syntax is just the way you write your code and the rules that are used to write code in a particular language. It's the syntax and the way it is and everything. Okay, so let's say student hobby, let's say coding. Let's say coding is your hobby. I'm sure you have so many hobbies, right? So we're going to do something. Okay, student's favorite food, rice and chicken. Let's leave it that way. Let's say student favorite cartoon. I think I've seen you watching Kung Fu Panda before, so I'll just put Kung Fu Panda there. Kung Fu Panda as your favorite cartoon, and your favorite color should be blue, because my favorite color is blue. I just assume. So, alright. So we have, this is, you can see student name, students, your name, your age, your class, your school, your hobby, rice and chicken, your favorite food, favorite cartoon, so that, and that. Okay, so all these are variables now. Now we just defined the variables. We have not started using it at all. You understand? When we want to start using it, is maybe we just want to, now we want to use a command now. Okay, now let's use our first command. Okay, now I want to say something that we are going to be doing often in this coding class. Sometimes in your code you might want to write normal text. You don't need to create a text file like we did here to write normal text. You might just want to be writing on your code, like to label some things, and this thing is called commenting, like writing comments. Sometimes you just want to explain your code and you just want to write that, okay, this is what I want to do here, before you now write the code. And these are called comments. Comments are actually good if you want to, if you want to just label your code so that if another programmer is looking at your code, you can know okay, this is what this person is trying to do. Those are called comments, and Python will not actually see it as a line of code. So when you write comments, there will not be any error, even if it's not a Python term, because Python will read it as a comment. Now, how do you write comments? You write any text, but make sure that before that text, you always put your hash symbol. In other programming languages, it's not usually hash, but in Python is hash. Okay. Now, your hash on your keyboard is different. I think on my own keyboard is number 3. That's hash. You can see the hash. You should be able to see the hash. Okay. So you can see the color of the word will not be green. So everything like this will be a comment. Okay, on that line. Now this is just a single line comment. There is a multi-line comment. Okay. If you want to put a multi-line comment, just keep writing on the second line, but make sure you close it. Oh, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't work that way. Okay, I think if you want to do a multi-line comment, that you just keep writing. I think you can use this. You can use this multi-line. A multi-line. I don't know if Python should have that multi-line comments. Python should have that. Hold on. Ooh. All right. Python should have multi-line comments. Because every programming language should have multi-line comments. Every programming language should have it. Okay. So multi-line comments is okay. Multi-line comments, yeah. Multi-line comments is your quotes 3 times. But that you're using single quotes, that's 1, 2, 3, or a double quote 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Or you can just use single quotes. That's your quote, the single quotes. Don't need to type shift, just single quote on your keyboard. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Just tap it and you close it. Okay, 3 quotes, and you can keep writing. You can keep writing. Come to the next line, keep writing. Come to the second line, keep writing. So far as it ends with a 3 quotes, and start with a 3 quotes. That's 3 quotes 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So that's how you do multi-line comment. So you might need it in Python, like when you're coding. So imagine I want to say that I want to write the actual code commands. Okay, commands. Okay, so the first command to run the code. Command to run the code now. So that's what I'll do now. Okay, so the first command I'm going to use is remember, for single line codes is hash that you use. For multiple lines, your 3 double this thing. Okay, so let me even put it there safe, so you will know that this is a multiple line quotes. Okay, so a single line quotes. All right, so you know it now. So now let's say that we want to run our first command. The first command, the usual first command in Python is print hello. Print is used for printing something to your screen. That's what we use print for in Python. Okay, so if I want to say my name is Neto. Remember, I put it in quotes because it's a string. If I didn't put it in, remember, string is also like text. So if I didn't put it in quote like this, it's going to be another thing. So put it in string, so you know you are printing a text to your screen. So if I run my code now, run, start debugging. Now to debug, you have to just press run, start debugging, press your start debugging, and you see select debugger. You select Python debugger. We have installed it in our extensions. You can install it if you don't have. So and you can see suggested. So click on your Python debugger. When you press your run, start debugging, click the Python debugger, and it will bring up something else. Select the debug configuration. Okay, just select Python file. Okay, so that's all. Select the first thing there. So you see it in your terminal here. My name is Neto. Okay, I don't know if you can see my screen. You can see my name is Neto here. My name is Neto. You can see it is showing in your terminal. In our terminal, my name is Neto. That's what we printed. Now let us print something else. Let's print to the screen. Now if you notice, it's printing in the terminal. That's the shell, the command line interface, because we have not put all these things, we have not attached it to a user interface. That's, you know what user interface you have been taught, GUI, user interface, where the user can interact, where there's all graphics. We have not attached this our code to a user interface. Python has that, but we have not yet done it, and we won't be doing it yet. Okay, so print my name is Neto. That's the first thing. The second thing, we want to print a variable. So how about if we print student name and student age? So student name, print student name. Now remember, it didn't bring any error because we have already defined what student name is. If you didn't define student name, let's comment this so the computer does not see it as a code. You just put a hash in the beginning. Let's comment it. This is what I meant. Let's comment C. Student name, print student name. If I put a comment in student name here, so it's no more a code again. That means the computer is just seeing it as plain text. The student name here in this print will be underlined. Let's clear this tab, this terminal. Let's clear our terminal, CLS or clear. See, I've taught you how to clear your terminal. CLS or clear. Just type CLS or type clear. The terminal will clear. Press. So when we try to run our code, you will see that when you come to the problem in the terminal, that is this part, you see student name is not defined. That's because of here student name is not defined. It's just a plain text here. But when you define student name, that's when you can print student name because it has been defined. Okay, let's save it. Hold on. No, supposed to. Okay, print student name, still showing error. We have defined it. Okay, let's give it some time. So student name is defined now. Okay, so you can see when we run our code, it showed my name is Neto, which is the first one here. And as you can see, my name is Neto. It showed my name is Neto, which is the first print. Okay, let me show you. It showed my name is Neto. The second one, print student name. Remember, student name is Neto Chuku Agu. So when we say print student name, it now printed your full name because student name is a variable and we defined it at the beginning. Okay, so that's the two first one. They print student name. Okay, and you can join it together ourselves. My name is, and you can join my name is with the full. Now let's try that. Let's say print. Let's do another print again. Print. Let's do another print. Print. Put it in text. My name is. Let's close it. Now to join it, remember we want to join something together. It's going to add something together. Now, this is what you put in your mathematics skills. So, join things that you want to add something together. So, that is, we are going to be using the plus. Okay, so my name is plus student name. So when we print everything together, it's not going to be my name is, sorry, I think there's an error there. My name is plus student's name. Remember, always check if there's no typo. Typo can cause an error, so always check if there's typo. So my name is plus student name. I see there's no error because student name is defined. That's why. So if I print it again, I run my code. Remember, I run start debugging here. So you can press F5 on your keyboard so that it's not going up here again every time. This is what I meant to, in case you didn't see it. You can just press so you can see the shortcut is F5 to debug. And to run it without debug anything. It's not usually best, but it doesn't run without debugging. It's just run the code. Okay. It's best to always run the code. So that's one debug. Hold on, I'm going to give that some time. Okay. Just give me some time. So let's run a debug. Remember, you can come here to run and debug in this side place here. In this side place here, I hope you can see it. You can also you can as well come and run and debug the side in this left side here. That left side where my arrow is. So that is also the run and debug. So it will run your code for you and debug it for you. Okay. Sorry about that. And please, let's clear our terminal. I just cleared my terminal. And I'm going to start debugging. So when it debugs, you are going to see the last thing is going to be print my name is student name. And anytime you change the student name, you change to another person's name, it will also change when you run it again. Okay? That's how it is. That's variables, we have variables and data types in Python. So we are going to the text, that's string data type, the numbers data types. In Python, in Python, it is not called a number data type just like it is in Scratch. It's called because numbers why there are different kinds of numbers. That's what you should know in mathematics. There are different kinds of numbers. And one type of number is the integer. Integers are just like just your whole numbers, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But there are also decimals which are called floats in programming. They are decimals. Let me bring you to that point. Okay. So yeah, we have data types. We have data types. Data types in Python. Okay. So first data type we have is what? Integer, which is like int. See that's int. Okay. So another programming languages as well. The second one is integers. That's okay. Let's say the example is your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, so that's example of integers. Now we have floats, which is decimals. Floats are decimals, and that's 1.5, 2.0, 3.2, 1.1, 80.76. That's floats, examples of floats. Okay, numbers. And we have a string. A string is anything in quotes. Anything in quotes. So anything in quotes will be treated as a text. Okay, so even if you put a number, sure you can see my screen, right? So even if you put a number in quotes, that number will be treated as if it's a text. It's called a string. Okay, it won't be treated as a number again because you have put that number in quotes. All right, so that's what you need to know about. That's what you need to know about data types. Now we have one more data type that we'll be doing now before we close the class, and that's lists. And I think you know it's the same thing, or they're also called in some programming languages they just call it array. Okay, array is the general term, but I think in Python they have a more specific type of array. Array is like a list of numbers. For example, now I said coding. I wrote coding as to be your hobby in that thing. But imagine you have different kind of hobbies. That's where array comes in. You can put different. You can assign different data inside one variable. That's array. Okay. So student name. Imagine I don't want to say student name, but I want to say student names of different students inside one variable called student names. I can just use an array, or in Python called a list. A list is okay. So a list is usually like this, okay? E.g., this is how a list looks like. Square brackets, they use square brackets, and maybe e.g. we have let's say we have student names, or we have hobbies, my hobbies. Let's say the variable name is my hobbies is equals to, we put the square bracket, playing piano, coding, drawing, okay, dancing, and we'll close it with a square bracket. This is how a list looks like. If you want to, this is how it looks like in square bracket, but this will give you an error because dancing, drawing, coding, and all that, I think they are all text. So we need to be very careful when we are coding. We need to put it in quotes so we know that it's a text. See that? We need to put them in quotes so the computer knows it's a text. Alright, so this is it. Another type of list is let's make another variable and call it exam scores. Okay, let's put a square bracket. Now this time around, exam scores is number. Okay, is a number. What kind of number? Your exam score cannot be an integer, because integers are just like this. These are integers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you understand? Exam scores are actually float number, because some people can score 1.5, or let's say some people can score 10, maybe say 10.5 over 20 in their exam, or maybe 50.5 over 70. So we can't say exam scores are integers. It's an integer kind of data type. So it's a float. We'll make it a float. Okay, but still, yeah, it's a float type of data type. So, but we'll just put it, some integers might be there, like 20 is an integer. Let's say this person scored 20 over 70. Okay, and let's say this one scored 90 over, okay, let's make it, yeah, over 70. Let's say this one scored 60 over 70. So this one called 35.5 over 70. So this one scored 40.5. Let's say this one scored 63, and let's say this one scored 28. Let's close the list. So these are exam scores in a class. So this kind of list is this kind of data types list, right? And this kind of list is float and integer. So they can be different data types inside one list. Okay, I can even add yes, you can add different data types inside one list. You can even add a string. Okay, a string 50. Or maybe this person was absent or unknown. Different data types inside one list. Okay, and we have another type called sets. Okay, a set is like an array to think here, but a set is different from a list. A set, you cannot, different between a set and a list is that you cannot repeat something that you have already put. Okay, so let's say example of a set will be subjects I'm offering in visit for. You know what I'm saying? My subject, that is set. You can't repeat what you have already written in a set. Okay? For example, maths. You can't repeat maths again. You have written it before. Okay? Verbal reasoning. Okay? okay, English, right, French, and so on. Okay, so remember, don't always forget your data type. If not, to be an error. These are all text, so put them in quotes. All right. So remember, all this thing I wrote here is valid in Python. Okay, so instead of typing it in Visual, we're going to go to Visual Studio Code now. I'm just going to copy all this thing and put it inside. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy all these things and put it inside my Visual Studio Code. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this one. I'm just going to. I know, see, it's bringing some errors. That's because of all this. Okay, sorry. Let me just put you. I copied it. I'm going to put it inside Visual Studio Code. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. So it's bringing errors because of all these lists examples. So instead of even deleting it, I can just put it in comments. Okay, I can just put it in comments. Yes. Okay. So Python is very sensitive now. If you hover on this thing, of unexpected indentation. Indentation is the space you leave before you write a code. Okay, the space you leave before you write a line of code. That's indentation. Unlike other programming languages, some other programming languages do not worry about the space you leave, but Python just worries about it. I don't know why, but we'll just have to use it that way. So in Python, it's telling us that we didn't have to leave a space. That's why it's giving us an error. So let's just delete the space. And let's delete this one. Let's delete this one. So these are syntax. Every programming language has their syntax. Python syntax is very strict with indentation. Okay, so we're wrapping up the class. Okay, so this is it. This is it. So if I say print, if I write in my terminal print student name, oh god, okay, so I can't write it in my terminal. It's PowerShell. Sorry, I forgot that. So print student name rather on my Python file. Print my name is Neto. Print student name. Print my name is plus the variable student name. Now I want to print my hobbies now. Okay, let's print my hobbies and let's print exam scores. Let's print exam scores and let's print my subject. Remember, I recommend you typing everything from scratch, and mine seems to be, as we go on in the class, you would learn how to type things quickly using Visual Studio Code. There's some stuff you need to install for that, but not now. Okay, so by the time we run this code, you can see it's. So let me show you my terminal. Can you see it's printed my name is Neto first. It's printed student name, that's Neto Chukwuagu. It's printed my name is plus Neto Chukwuagu. Okay, so you can see is and NATO are together. There's supposed to be a space there, so that's, we didn't leave a space. You can come here and leave a space after is. Okay, you can come here and leave a space after is. If you delete it, just leave a space. Save. Let's run again. Let's run it again. Okay, so okay, let me just do it this way. Let me clear. Let me clear everything and let's run it again. So let's run it again. So everything is still running on the terminal now. Command line interface. Soon will soon be using GUI. Python has libraries that you can use to use GUI. I'm going to show you later on this, but not now. For now, we'll still be using terminal. Terminal, right? So you can see the first one, my name is NATO, then it's printed student name, that's NATO. It's printed my name is plus student name, that's NATO. Okay. Now it's printed my hobby, that's the full list. It's printed the whole list of your hobbies. It's printed the full list of your examples of subjects. But what if you want to print only one hobby, just a particular hobby, maybe just one of them, or one of the exam scores, or one of the subjects? That we'll be checking out in next class, and we will learn about properties of lists. You know how lists behave, some properties, their properties, and how you can work with lists and sets.